everyone, and welcome to Poetryspective number 64, the 13th online edition. Proudly sponsored by Pride of our Footscray Community Bar and brought to you from under the veranda tonight at the House of Schcets in the evening while the sun sets. It's actually rather beautiful. Speaking of beautiful and silly and wonderful and accomplished, tonight we have Eddy Burger. Yes, very, very excited about that. And we also have Rowan White, and Rowan White shall be reciting the works of Edward Lear. So that is going to be pretty damn fine. I am very much looking forward to it, and I hope you all are too. And of course we have our open section. The open section is always delightful, and yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy. As you all know, it is a tradition here at Poetryspective for me to read 2 poems dipping in the open section, one of them from our retrospective feature. And tonight, that is Rowan White. So, here is a poem that I chose, written by the man himself. He wrote it on April 14 in 2018 for the Dirty 30 group. It is untitled. Swaddle me, for I am not used to this freedom. Hold me in, embrace me, with the firm boundaries of your expectations. Surround me with wholesome demands. Give me rules and guidelines over which to sometimes stray with my over-eager, not quite yet coordinated crayon. Tell me what to do. Quick, please, for I am at a loss. Do not give me my head, because this horse will bolt without you and the shut gate of your love. And the second poem that I have chosen is from Kerry Scuffin's book Litmus. It is called Pregnancy. Sometimes you have to get up for a poem, like you get up for a crying child. Feed it some ink, so it will sleep. And now, the open section.
Hi everyone, my name's Matthew O'Keefe, the manager down at Pride. Good to be with you again. I'm going to read 2 poems tonight by Paul from his book Skipping Over Damaged Area, or SODA for short. Here it is. And the poems are Caution and Hard Drive Failure. Thank you. This iron is alarmed. It is beeping insistently. It wants to be used. Now. It wants to flatten some wrinkly clothes. It is hot with indignation. Just a typical day for an iron, I guess. Thank you. Scan me for viruses, for I have dwelled among harmful information too long. Purge my preferences, for they are corrupt. Rebuild my desktop, for my icons are generic. Deselect auto start, for the electronic data vamp worm is turning. Like any great metropolis, I have several bad sectors. Invoke disk doctor. Insert operating software disk into the sacrificial receptacle. If I cannot be repaired, I must be reformatted. The day in the life of a computer.
I used to be bombarded by beauty, but now I'm bombarded by bombs. used to be a place called home is now nothing at all. Standing in front of a shoreless ocean, confronting the dark seas my soul has to embark. Swallowed by hunger pains, confused by how this all started. Will I ever know a place called home again? Cold waters flowing between my fingers. What used to be the sounds of birds singing are now the voices of children crying. Angels crowding, calling our names. Holding on to dear life, some staying afloat, some drowning, dying in vain. Will I ever know a place called home again? So I close my eyes for days and wake up drifted ashore upon a land far, far away, whose ancient wisdom is rooted in aboriginal ways. On top of a sacred mountain I came across a sage. Darug was his tribe, Yanamuru was his name. He spoke to my spirit and told me, listen to your mother. I told him my mother is gone, and I'm worried what might have happened to her. No, he said, listen to nature. She is your mother. She always tells us what to do. So I sat by a placid lake at the break of dawn, the orange sky tinted blue, and listened to the songs of praise of 1,000 lorikeets and cockatoos, swaying along where eucalyptus trees, koalas, and kangaroos, to the rhythm of beating drums and a didgeridoo. Until the enchantment was broken by silence in the background and I heard the voice of my own mother too. Beginnings are the manifestations of ends. So just as I was bombarded by beauty before I even knew what bombs were, there is a place of solace and ecstasy where I come from and where I'm destined to return. I turned to the elder and told him that I'm a refugee seeking refuge from the trauma of my own past. He grabbed a bit of the earth and he placed it upon my hand. He said, bury your secrets in your heart, for this is the only moment that you have. Just like what once were lifeless seeds are now a flourishing garden, so do your dreams come true if you water them with silence. At that point I realized where my home is. It's not limited by space and time. A place beyond thought, manifested in dream time, amid stillness of mind. Yet in the midst of stillness still I admit I don't know much at all. But beholding beauty in every instance, my identity rooted in existence, I know where to go on from now on. To cultivate a life in a land with ancestors whose past has been annihilated, yet welcome me with open arms. For by the end of this journey, I know where I'll be returning, back to Mother Earth.
You were the heroine, and I was the addict. You syringed my naked moments with your words, and I sucked your massive tirade into my veins once too often, overdosing on the toxic wordscape of your mind.
Hi again, and now it's time for our retrospective feature tonight, and that is Rowan White, who shall be reading the poetry of Edward Lear. Very exciting. And here is a little bit about Rowan himself. A conflicted child of the eastern suburbs, Rowan White is an Anglo-Melbourneian poet, spoken word performer, singer, activist, counsellor, driving instructor, and carer. I also happen to know that he flies light planes. He hangs out with poets a lot and crews with Melbourne spoken word. Slam-a-lam-a-ding-dong, and mother tongue. Rowan writes of the beautiful here and now and the problem of privilege. His style is personal and polemical with a touch of dag. Rowan's first book is Tailwind and Other Poems, published in 2015. Every now and then he cracks it for a feature at the Dan, at Blame Smarty, or on Radio 3CR, and he once convened a gig at the blood bank called Bloody Poets. He likes peanut butter and jam on his toast every morning. His favourite word in the universe is glockenspiel. And now, here is Rowan White reading the poetry of Edward Lear. Enjoy.
Hello, Poetryspective people. Rowan White here, coming to you from Wurundjeri land. Shout out to all you Poetryspective folks, and especially to Lish. G'day, thanks for the invitation, and Colin, and shout out too for Matt from Pride of our Footscray. Hope you're going okay in this lockdown. I'm going to be reading you some Edward Lear. When I heard my mate Eddie was on, his name just sprang to mind, and I thought, here we go. So, I hope you enjoy.
So who's this chap Edward Lear? Edward Lear was born in North London in 1812, the 21st of 21 children. He was raised by his elder sister, who was 21 years his senior, and he went on to become a poet, a painter, an artist, and a musician. Many of us will remember him as a childhood poet. He wrote a lot of his poems for children and is famous for those. And he also wrote Limericks. He popularised that form in the English world. And today I'm going to read you some of his more popular works. And here is how he represented himself in verse. How pleasant to know Mr. Lear, who has written such volumes of stuff. Some think him ill-tempered and queer, but a few think him pleasant enough. His mind is concrete and fastidious. His nose is remarkably big. His visage is more or less hideous. His beard, it resembles a wig. He has ears and 2 eyes and 10 fingers, leastways if you reckon 2 thumbs. Long ago he was one of the singers, but now he resembles the dumbs. He sits in a beautiful parlour, with hundreds of books on the wall. He drinks a great deal of marsala, but never gets tipsy at all. He has many friends, lay and clerical. Old Foss is the name of his cat. His body is perfectly spherical. He weareth a runcible hat. When he walks in waterproof white, the children run after him so, calling out, he's gone out in his nightgown, that crazy old Englishman, oh. He weeps by the side of the ocean. He weeps on the top of the hill. He purchases pancakes and lotion, and chocolate shrimp from the mill. He reads but cannot speak Spanish. He cannot abide ginger beer. Ere the days of his pilgrimage vanish, how pleasant to know Mr. Lear. And so to the poetry. I'm going to start with some limericks. These are really not limericks, they're anti-limericks. And they make no sense. And, well, you'll hear them in a minute. After that, I'm going to dress up as an anachronistic cat. Try saying that. An anachronistic cat. Anyway, the limericks. There was an old man with a beard, who said, it is just as I feared. 2 owls and a hen, 4 larks and a wren, have all built their nests in my beard.
There was an old person of Ischia, whose conduct grew frisker and friskier. He danced hornpipe jigs, ate thousands of figs, that lively old person of Ischia. There was an old man in a boat, who said, I'm afloat, I'm afloat. When they said, no you ain't, he was ready to faint. That unhappy old man in a boat. P.S. Traditional limericks are crude and offensive. What's Lear saying here? There was an old lady of Hull who was chased by a virulent bull, but she seized on a spade and called out, who's afraid? Which distracted that virulent bull. What a load of bull. There was an old person of Ems who casually fell in the Thames. When he said he was found, they said he was drowned, that unlucky old person of Ems. There was an old man who said, hush, I perceive a young bird in the bush. When they said, it is small, he replied, not at all. It is 4 times as big as the bush. There was a young lady of Russia who screamed so that no one could hush her. Her screams were extreme. No one heard such a scream as we screamed by that lady of Russia. There was an old person of Ewell who chiefly subsisted on gruel, but to make it more nice, he inserted some mice, which refreshed that old person of Ewell. There was an old man in a tree, whose whiskers were lovely to see, but the birds in the air plucked them perfectly bare to make them some nests in that tree. There is a young lady whose nose continually prospers and grows. When it grew out of sight, she exclaimed in affright, oh, farewell to the end of the nose. We're coming to the cat soon, but a few more limericks. There was an old person of Dean who dined on 1 pea and a bean, for he said, more than that would make me too fat, that cautious old person of Dean. There was an old person of Dover who rushed through a field of blue clover, but some very large bees stung his nose and his knees, so he very soon went back to Dover. There was an old man of Peru who watched his wife making a stew, but once by mistake in a stove she did bake, that unfortunate man of Peru. There was a young lady whose bonnet came untied when the birds sat upon it, but she said, I don't care, all the birds in the air are welcome to sit on my bonnet. So that's it for the limericks. Now, to an anachronistic cat. The Jumblies. They went to sea in a sieve, they did. They went to sea in a sieve. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. A sieve. And when the sieve turned round and round, and everyone cried, you'll all be drowned, they are called aloud, our sieve ain't big, but we don't care a button, we don't care a fig. In a sieve we'll go to sea. Far and few are the lands where the Jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue. And they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea-green whale tied with ribbon by way of a sail to a tobacco pipe mast, and everyone said, who saw them go, oh, they won't be soon upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what it may be extremely long, in a sieve to sail so fast. Far and few, and the lands where the Jumblies live, their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water, it came. The water, it soon came in. It did. The water, it soon came in. So to keep them dry, they wrapped their feet in a pinky paper and folded neat. And they fastened it down with a pin. And they passed the night in a crockery jar. And each of them said, how wise we are, though the sky be dark and the voyage be long. Yet we never can think we were rash or wrong, while round in our sieve we spin. Far and few are the lands where the jumblies live. Their hands are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. All night long they sailed away, and when the sun went down, they whistled and warbled a moony song, and it echoed the song of a coppery gong in the shade of the mountain brown. Oh, Timbaloo, how happy we are, and when we live in a sieve in a crockery jar, and all night long in the moonlight pale, we sail away with a green pea-green sail in the shade of the mountain brown, in the shade of the mountain brown. Far and few are the lands where the jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They went to sea in a sieve, they did, in a sieve they went to sea. In spite of all their friends could say, on a winter's morn, on a stormy day, in a sieve they went to sea. And when the sieve turned round and round, and everyone cried, you'll all be drowned, they called aloud, our sieve ain't big, for we don't care a button, we don't care a fig, in a sieve we'll go to sea. Far and few are the lands where the jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. They sailed in a sieve, they did. In a sieve they sailed so fast, with only a beautiful pea-green veil tied with a ribbon by way of a sail, and a small tobacco pipe mast. And everyone said, who saw them go? Oh, why won't they soon be upset, you know, for the sky is dark and the voyage is long, and happen what may, it's extremely wrong in a sieve to sail so fast. Far and few are the lands where the jumblies live. Their heads are green and their hands are blue, and they went to sea in a sieve. The water, it soon came, it did. So they kept them dry, they wrapped their feet in a pinky paper or folded and neat. And each of them said, how wise we are, though the sky be dark and the voyage be long. You can never think we're rash, we're wrong. No. It's called a top hat. It's a funny hat, isn't it? Meow. 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 Meow.
And to finish up, by Edward Lear, The Owl and the Pussycat. The owl and the pussycat went to sea in a beautiful pea-green boat. They took some honey and plenty of money wrapped up in a 5-pound note. The owl looked up to the stars above and sang to a small guitar. Oh lovely pussy, oh pussy my love, what a beautiful pussy you are, what a beautiful pussy you are. Pussy said to the owl, you elegant fowl, how charmingly sweet you sing. Oh let us be married, for too long we've tarried, but what shall we do for a ring? They sailed away for a year and a day to a land where the bong tree grows, and there in a wood a piggy-wig stood, with a ring at the end of his nose, with a ring at the end of his nose. Dear piggy, you willing to sell for 1 shilling your ring? Said the piggy, I will. So they took it away and were married next day by the turkey who lives on the hill. They dined on mince and slices of quince, which they ate with a runcible spoon, and hand in hand on the edge of the sand, they danced by the light of the moon, they dance by the light of the moon.
Haha, thank you, Rowan. You really have brought Edward Lear to life for us tonight with that rendition. Absolutely marvellous. And now, more of the open section.
Hi Lish, hi everyone. I'm going to do 2 poems. First one's called BLM, Black Lives Matter, and it's a tribute to Martin Luther King. Wiping crumbs from the corners of your mouth, you fold the starch napkin, place it on the lime formica table. Legs crossed, polyester cool against your thigh, you feel the gold band on your finger and make a mental note to ring her. Blood-soaked and charcoal grey, this suit a canvas for your passion. Montgomery, Albany, Birmingham, Washington. A child in Atlanta, the giant oak shields you. Daddy's whip, short and thick. Read scripture and always forgive. A verse now plays in your head. Nina Simone in sombre tones. Strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. You see hollow eyes, hear children's cries. Rain starts to stay in the glass window. The wind moans and whistles, beckons you to face the storm. You remain silent. A monogrammed handkerchief, the scent of sweet magnolia. This poem is called A Slave to God, inspired by a photo of me and my mum at my baptism. Go, therefore, and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to keep all things I have commanded you. Matthew 28:19-20. Black and white evidence, one staged moment, a memory framed, revealed in increments, a blockchain of events, remnants not altered or deleted, we move forward. If we travel back, a man washed of his sins in the Jordan River inspires this ritual. Bestow a name upon a child and proclaim O doulos to Theou, a slave to God. Burning candles illuminate, gold leaf glitters, the haze of frankincense. I am immersed 3 times into a pool of water, cleansed of sins I have yet to commit, hair snipped by a bearded man, a crucifix is pinned to my lapel, smoke fills the narthex. I cry tears of resentment. Grip onto the mother who has betrayed my trust, an umbilical cord still tied around my neck, and love her more. Thank you. Okay, see you next time. Bye.
That's the last race of the Spring Carnival over. A 15-1 winner, doubles and trebles Saturday. Saul's acting like a very toy 3-year-old colt with that wine in his hand. There's some hateful cunts on the punt when you're losing, some very fine people everywhere when you're winning. Fellas to avoid in pubs in Ireland when punting and painting. 1. Those that don't bet but pretend they are on every winner, shouting at the screen like he's winning or has won, but one fuck all, just rubbing salt in the loser's eyes with his psst, psst, go on, the fuck, yes, but never having bet. Counting himself the winner because he's surrounded with losers. 2. Potential, perpetual losers who follow others around telling them what to bet on, even though they've lost every roll-in they have. Deep gambling, lost in potentials, spending thousands in your head, you're never going to win. A lot of the boys are like very middling 3-year-olds slight potential. There's a few thoroughbreds in and out of here. Some definitely need gelding. To think of being gelded. In our farm, once or twice a year, at the cattle crush, I'd be holding the bullock as Joe took out the snips and took his balls right off, blood like American Psycho. Joe was a very strong man who liked sausages, totally absurd, and could be ruthless. Would put sick cows down with a sledgehammer. He'd shout, "Sean, look!" Hit the sick cow square in the head with the sledgehammer, a sickening thud. Farming's not for the weak-minded. There's death everywhere, all the time. Although, spend a lot of time with cows, you begin to see their total Buddhism. The cows go with the flow. A cow knows when to come and go. They want nothing, only a feed for milk. One cow we had, Red 99, escaped the flock one day and walked into Bonehead's house and tried to get up his stairs. Bonehead, or Howdy as he was known in the latter Bonehead period, Howdy chased the cows out in total disgust down the road to our parlour, shouting, "This cunt was trying to climb our stairs! This cunt was trying to climb the stairs!" Cows look like they're wearing high heels when you're walking behind them. Red 99 was a kicker, didn't like you fiddling with the others too much, wanted the clusters put on without ceremony or she'd kick you. Bit of a nasty bastard, Red 99. Sunshine Psychedelia, the super modern, now and back then. Life is like a roundabout, one way in, at least 3 ways out, predominantly made of flowers and generally of benefit to everyone. In Sunshine Happy Hour, Roman, the Polish stonemason, said, "Once I drank my girlfriend's contact lenses." Spent 2 hours in the garage looking for blue tack. Gave up. Walking around later, I felt uncomfortable. The blue tack was stuck to the sole of my shoe. In the revolution, it will be as though what you do is because you want to do it. Of course, it is not true, but you will feel like it is better than not being or believing it can't be. You can feel a dream. You can't feel nothing. The outback of the house arch show. Sunshine Psychedelia, sun up. The morning unfolds and the sky's telling stories. Because of the blue bushfires, there's different bird songs coming from the trees. The two pigeons that are in love, who sit on the TV antenna or backyard gate together, mate furiously, fairly, regularly. The clouds above the telegraph wires are scrolling along like a sushi tray. The kid who plays basketball in the backyard next door has grown at least half a foot in 1 year. I can tell by how much of his head I can see over the fence. The sunflowers are blooming, and even the tomato plant that looks like it's dying is putting out fruit. You can hear an ice cream van somewhere near. Green or red sauce. A poke was a 99 in Ireland, or a flake in a vanilla swirl in Australia. Our Irish ice cream man in the ice cream van looked like a fat Mexican gangster from the movies. The van played the music from Popeye the Sailor Man, and we ran after it like the Pied Piper with 20p scrounged off our maws. Jimmy White, 2p Nudgers, Bubble Bobble and Anything You Want by Roy Orbison. No such thing as mobile phones, and Commodore 64s made their way into future Fortune 500 Silicon Valley CEOs' bedrooms. People thought other people were stupid because of lack of information. OMG or OFOL. A quainter time. There were a select few reviewers who wrote for select publications. But some things never change. Wars everywhere. There was a war where I was born, the Falklands War. The Russians were invading Afghanistan, with the Americans arming the Afghanis. PLO, Yasser Arafat, Reebok pumps, miners' strikes. Put the needle on the record. £5, wraps of cat's piss, a litre extra on Old English cider, and militant Israelis assassinated Yitzhak Rabin. Every evening at 6 o'clock, me and Uncle Joe took in the cows and milked them. We decided to bring the curtain down on the weekend, Tuesday evening. When I finally got to sleep, I dreamt of Jose Mourinho. He was managing Juventus in the five-a-side pitch outside my house back in Ireland when I was a lad. and I was up and coming, and Mourinho was on the sidelines joking about me, and I told him I was ready to play for Juventus out the front of our house against the big lads, Torres and Finnegan, Mal Kelly, Stretch, Packy Bonehead, Collie McVerry, Sean Tully and Clinkers and Nets. And Mourinho was saying I wasn't and was laughing at me, and I was getting very angry and frustrated. I knew I was ready and Mourinho wasn't having it, and I also knew after what he did with Kevin De Bruyne and Mohamed Salah at Chelsea, I didn't stand a chance. So I got him in a wrestling hold where I had him scissored between my thighs and I was choking him to death when I woke up in a pool of sweat because it was 32 degrees during the night that night. Next morning I realised I'd never amount to much, but it's all much of a muchness anyway. If you want to ride the lightning, you gotta put up with the thunder.
Hello Lish, hello Colin and everyone at Poetryspective. I want to read one poem this time. It's called On Listening to a Reading of Easter 1916, and it's brand new. I wrote it a few days ago after I'd heard John McKelvey reading Yeats's poem. It's an amazing poem, and he read it beautifully. And it brought it back to me when I first read it, aged about 14, sitting in an English school. And it also connected very much for me with what we're hearing from the States at the moment, another death. It's called On Listening to a Reading of Easter 1916, and here it is. Online, and John is reading Yeats. I have met them at close of day, he reads. And I'm back in class, my legs folded into the pitted wooden desk, that tart smell of dried ink in old inkwells. My text is scuffed and smattered with the baffled marginal notes of other fourth-year girls who've gone before. My forefinger has a dent where I grip the pen too hard and black smudge from changing an ink cartridge. We have done with wild swans. We're told to search the notes, to find out who they are, these names that Yeats sets down. Say their names. Hearts with one purpose alone, John reads. We sit in this classroom with its legacy, the dark wood panels, window frames painted in thick green paint, looking out at tennis courts, puzzling over figures from a war our history books have never named. 1916, a year that leaves no room for other wars. We avoid the front row in case of flying spittle, and this teacher, waving his dark hands, he holds out his passion for Yeats's words, cradles the thoughts on his tongue in a small-town school where no one will have cut him any slack, not ever, where brown hands are still unfamiliar. Too long a sacrifice can make a stone of the heart, John reads. Kenosha, Jacob Blake. Our part to murmur name upon name. Blake's sister is in braids. She tells the crowd she's wept too many tears for history. I am numb, she says. In that timeline, her brother takes his unasked for place. When you say his name, make sure you say human, she says. These movements squat like bookends on either side of 100 years. At 14, how could I have dared to grasp that wild verse? The scuffed pages, a record of lives ground to powder, beneath the great uneven millstone of their cause. We know their dream, John reads, enough to know they dreamed and are dead. A century crumples like an accordion. The headlines realign. Thank you, and thank you to John as well.
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are enjoying Poetryspective so far. This 64th edition and the 13th edition that we've been doing now since COVID. My name's Colin Clark, and I'm the person who puts together the videos. Much appreciate all the great contributions that we get every time. I've got so many great poets sending me videos, so obviously it's only ever as good as what people send in, and that's pretty good. So yeah, enjoy. For my first poem, I'm going to read something by one of our contributors, the wonderful Anita Nahal. So Anita recorded a feature for us during the Melbourne Spoken Word Festival a couple of Poetryspectives back, and has provided some work for us previously as well. In the diverse nature of Poetryspective, we've got an Englishman in Australia reading the work of an Indian who lives in America. So yeah, it's a nice international touch to this. So thanks, Anita, for sending me this beautiful book. And I am going to read Migratory Birds. I hope you can hear my birds in the background. I can hear galahs, and there's a pallid cuckoo and various other things chirping away. So I hope to use a bit of ambience. Migratory Birds by Anita Nahal. Please go. It's beyond cold now. You who were abandoned when the ship's mast sailed full. The mast is a paling yellow now, and I know your heart wishes to wash, clean, and soften the blows of rusty seas on her weakening body. Go. Look not back. Nothing was ever yours. Cold made sure you were forgotten. I know it's not easy. I know you wanted to turn back from each corner, door, and road, screaming, I love you. I will miss you, Mama. Keep going. Seek not repeated goodbyes. And as the last border flies beneath your feet, let your tears mix with the migratory chatter of hundreds. If only have haunted many. Inhale deeply. It's beyond cold now. Dear friends, in these days of fake facts and fake news, when a phone's all you need to share all your views, when idiots on Facebook cry, lend me your ears, don't listen to people who've studied for years. A straight, white, cis man can speak with impunity on an issue he has with the LGBTIQ community, and not even about the sins they commit against acronyms. We can't go on without addressing the pink elephant in the room. If I was indigo, I'd be feeling blue, maybe even resorting to violet. How could I be excluded by the one community that prides itself on inclusivity, worships wake me up before you go, indigo to the go-go? If indigo goes away, there can be no more in the Navy, only YMCA. And while I'm on that topic, it's another thing I don't get. How YMCA even became a gay anthem. The YM I get. Young men can be quite handsome. The tune's rather catchy, the moves get you moving, but the C can be rather preachy and disapproving. I say, pray the gay to stay, and the pious pricks can go away. Maybe conversion therapy is worth exploring to convert the bigots to something less boring. In an earlier rant, I chose to express that the Pope is quite often to be seen in a dress. Oh no, I got sidetracked. So let's go back to the Indigo, a go-go. When I was a child, we learnt this refrain. Richard of York gave battle in vain. Well, these days the mantra must be quite plainly, Richard of York gave battle vainly. Well, we're all just a non-binary genre, Heinz 57 varieties, human beings, with or without sausages. What is Victoria's secret? Well, it's that she was born Victor, and they're just knickers. Don't be a drag, be a drag queen. Well, if that's your thing, and sing, or lip sync. I am what I am, or Lily the Pink. Where's the fun in Stepford wives, conventional lives, in their cookie-cutter houses with gingerbread spouses? I don't care if you're gay, trans, brown, white or black. We're all in this together. Just bring Indigo back.
Hi everyone, I hope you've been enjoying the poetry tonight as much as I have. And now it's time for our feature, Mr. Eddy Burger. I'm very excited. And here's a little bit about Eddy himself. Eddy Burger is a writer of funny, weird and experimental poetry, fiction and plays. He is an anti-realist, absurdist and champion of the imagination. He has been a regular feature of this Berger word stage for 25 years and is a past winner of the Melbourne Fringe Spoken Word Festival Award, which is no small feat, I can tell you. I also happen to know that Eddy is a wearer of costumes and an actor and a mighty fine singer as well. I've seen him in a few musicals. So, this is going to be a terrific set. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Mr. Eddy Burger.
Hello everybody, it's Eddy Burger here. I'm going to be presenting you with a collection of performance pieces, poetry, new pieces, performance poetry pieces, a few old pieces, but mostly new, some weird experimental stuff and some, good crowd pleasers and blah 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 blah. Thank you, Poetryspective, for featuring me. Yay! Thank you, Lish, for inviting me. Yay! Now, and Lulu. Lulu is helping me. She's helping me. We've got a green screen, as you can see, and we're going to have lots of effects and all sorts of things. So, let's get it underway. Now, I'm going to do 3 fairly short experimental pieces. The first one is called Just Not in a Phallic Way. I was as why will I climb to the top of some great thrusting peak? Why was if when I would rather hide as a fetus, so anti-thrusting and withdrawn, sucked out, impotent and floppy. Me, my, more, I, whiz, a, was a house. Not big or small, not modest, but not average even, not no average, common, normal, everyday realism makes me wanna puke. What I'm really wanting, spice I like of life, of death, of lost in time and space, dinosaurs and space travel really rock. Both big, so really very they are, wish, whiz, was a really, really, truly very big, just not in a phallic way. Figure. Love is blah blah blah. Love is the greatest of human emotions, ennobling the pinnacle, blah blah blah. Love is the most primitive and irrational, blah 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 blah. Aside from anger, hate, happiness, jealousy, blah. Love is like a broken, fucked up record that everyone goes on about all the time, which is so common. God, love is so boring! Love is, in some ways, peculiar and unique. Such as when, for instance, someone whose favourite prehistoric flying reptile is pterodostro, because it has the coolest mouth, falls in love with someone else whose favourite blah 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 blah. Echo. Now, my next one's called There Were Two Machine Guns, one spraying my legs, the other my head. The other my head, who yours the hand, the other my hand, my arm is leg, the other is lover, my head is yours, whose leg the hand it is. The head the rage, my feet the head, my other the lover, my leg. No, as a surrealist, an observer, an absurdist, I'm not the biggest fan of realistic poems about the everyday life of the average Joe, as most of you will know. So that's the angle. This piece is called Realism in the Burbs. Mike was trailing his fingers through the pages of some very coarse braille as sunlight pressed upon his butt cheeks, till there was no blood left in them. Oh God! I'd better get dressed, he says, as he remembered his job interview in 1 hour's time. But suddenly he turned into a body of water, which was a shame since the interviewer was a vampire only interested in blood. Mike would have flunked the interview anyway. He was a failure at everything he tried. But who gives a fuck anyway? Next door was Mish, sitting alone on the small veranda while the sun was sinking in the sky. But she wasn't watching some mosquito as it landed on her arm hairs, and she wasn't thinking about going into the kitchen to boil up some instant fucking noodles. No! Instead, she turned her lips inside out till she looked like a fucking aardvark, then ate some grass or something, but not the fucking narcotic kind, and then did a shit that looked like a fucking sock. Peter came to the front door, but who gives a rat's ass? She didn't fucking welcome him or ignore him. Neither of them existed. There was just this big fat wall that got wider and wider, kilometres by the second, like it was being squashed by some giant fucking voice or something, which isn't a fucking metaphor for anything. and then it exploded in a fucking volcano. Meanwhile, Andrea and Sarah were passing in the street, and they weren't going to do it. They weren't doing or thinking fucking anything. Maybe they were like two bulimic amoebas volplaning in a petri dish full of molasses, but who gives a flying fuck? Fuck! Now, my next piece is from a play, a short play called A Short Play, by me, sung by an alien pretending to be a pirate. It's called The Pirate's Trade's a Dubious One at Best. The pirate trade's a dubious one at best, and depths on your head should put your character to the test. We pirates crave our independence more than most, but with debt or no good parenting, we cannot boast. The pirate trade's a dubious one at best, arr, arr, and debts on your head shall put your character to the test. Matey, with debts on your head, can't see no beauty in jewellery, no joy in pillaging or other kinds of piracy. It all comes down to how much money and rum to a boy, even atop a dead man's chest. All I can do is sigh. The pirate's trade's a dubious one at best. Me hearties, and depths on your head shall put your character to the test. Ahoy! It's to settle a score between me and a pirate of infamy. Can't hardly pay off the interest, though I reap a lot from piracy. We pirates, we ain't known for our longevity, and I want to leave my children with a debt-free legacy. The pirate trade's a dubious one at best. Shiver me timbers, and debts on your head shall put your character to the test. Heave ho! Heave ho! Ah! And here, this one is Sir Sausage. What ho, Sir Sausage! Thy larder is well stocketh for the nonce, thy pastries well baked, absconded were they from mine own cloister. What sayest thee to that, rapscallion? Thou art a rogue and a vagabond. Get ye gone from my tabernacle. Were I to say it that thou have a sharp mind, thou shouldest know it be in jest. Getteth ye down from thy ramparts, thou errant dog's body, thou rambunctious, felonious, floundering pervader of profane detritus, thou jester of jesting gesticulations, render thee mine supplicant unto thy thorny bush. Thou Casterbridge conundrum of the lavender fjords, thy glutinous pompous fop. Fop, 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 fop. Foul fart, faux foppish, fit fakes, fee fry. Foo think faux, fess, fi foo. Unhand that tender maiden with the tenderest breast and fairest skin, of the most sublime softness, 'twould put sandpaper to shame. Thy Glastonbury deviations dost sprechen of monolithic grotesqueries. Thy palatial palindromes of plaid are fit only for philanderers. Thy no, naughty no, naughty no, naughty no, oh derry down, derry, derriere. Yet, wealth might I ask of thee, muscular maid, wherefore dost thou goest, tenderest morsel? What bringeth thee unto thy maidenhead? Thy tankard brim full, and thy cleavage brimming all the more so. Won't thou shareth with mine thy bounteous bounty, so well stocked with sausage? Oh, take of mine life, and I shall pay thee back tenfold. So would I sprechen if I were not an easy lay. Unto the breach, I say. Quit taunting me, attempting to sway me not, my most weak of wills. I am but a wretched, sallow, shallow creature. Begone, strumpet, from thy water closet, thou provocative raconteur, thou nothing but a neoplast of chrysanthemamic Corinthian idolatry. Cometh ye not unto my table till the morrow of yesteryear? What doth thou sayest be to that? Thy glutinous, pompous fop. Fop, 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 fop. Fiturna fi, funtu fi, forta, flozet. Fedicated through the fletter fifth. Fens now, for I feel fake, for fleef, fouth of Frayum Farker's fook. This fatement is fedicated through the fletter fifth. Inspired by the fop fiction of phi Thulia Shakespearean film, and food fee Fred loud. But phi fuse the fletter fifth, phi few fast, fee fods fits fo fucking fard, phi fed. Fee phi furtherly find fractus fit futch, fo fits for fraw and funny. Fuck fetch the fuck felt of phi bottom flip. Hello! And now we're ready for my next poem. It's called Adventures of Supersensitive Man. Slower than a standing rock, less powerful than a speck of dust, able to leap off tall buildings in a single bound. Look! Up in the sky! It's absurd! It's really lame! It's Supersensitive Man! Yes, it's Supersensitive Man. Deranged visitor from his own mind who came to our society with coping mechanisms far inferior to those of normal humans. Supersensitive Man! More fragile than a 1,000-story house of cards. More pathetic than a leper in a beauty pageant. More self-destructive than a suicide bomber who can't change the course of piddling trickles, able to wring damp hankies with his bare hands, and who, disguised as Eddy Burger, mild-mannered, stable, confident, well-adjusted cleaner for a great metropolitan 5-star hotel, fights a never-ending battle against anxiety, depression, insecurity, instability, delusion, agoraphobia, self-hatred, self-destruction, insanity, and the loser's way. And now we have the loathsome song. In the desert of the jungle during the never-ending night, I screamed a terrible fright. Ah! Maggots! I'm filled with maggots! Sick maggots filling me with vomit and self-loathing. I am an ass! Hee-haw, 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 hee-haw! Oh, when the world explodes, I will be safe in another world, safe in my own world, my own blood-splattering, exploding fetus, exploding rotten vegetables world. Down with physiognomy, I am the enemy of popular romance, I am a crow. Leeches. I'm filled with leech. I was in a tram full of geniuses, No, it was a wagon, a cart full of livestock and vegetables being pulled to market. Stinking, rotten vegetables and shit. And, now, where was I? Oh yes, now I remember something about loathing myself and blowing up the world. A world full of vampires, splintering vampires, gnashing their teeth, enough to horrify even the horrific, enough to fry their bloated bodies, enough to fry their brains. But the good in the world does flourish and blossom and fill the land with pleasures abounding, delicious fruit and tantalizing aromas, filling meadows and pastures filled with bunnies, hopping bunnies, happy bunnies. And, now, where was I? Oh yes, now I remember, I am a pig. Oink. And my next piece is called Abominable Gargantuan. It's made up of lines taken from a short play I wrote. Abominable Gargantuan. On your knees, abominable gargantuan! Will all the beasts do battle on our very doorstep? I'd give my life to save this town, but that's as far as it goes, Buster. Will all the beasts do battle on our very doorstep? Oh my God! I forgot just how large and frightening it was. But that's as far as it goes, Buster. Take that and that and that, you weak pussies! Oh my God! I forgot just how large and frightening it was. Pull yourself together. The town needs you. I need you. Take that and that and that, you weak pussies! You might have broken your arm, but I lost my whole leg. I'm done with being the victim. Death or glory! I'd give my life to save this town. I'll report you to the ombudsman of absurdist comedians. On your knees, abominable gargantuan! Ah! Okay, so there you have it. That's the end of my shenanigans, and thank you so much to Lulu for filming and editing and everything, and thanks to Poetryspective. Yay! It's been great. Thank you for having me, everyone. Yay! Till next time. Yay!
Thank you, Eddie. Your set was phantasmagorical. Woohoo! Enjoyed that very much. And now, back to the open section.
A fresh one for today, just written today. And do I look professorial enough? Huh? Bit of history now. Syrian sun until their eyes bleed for their ancestry. Aryan children, pure and young, instilled with the creed born of vanity. Rewrite the books rake the embers of zeal, all flaxen, pure in crucible. Blue-eyed fair looks, never made to kneel, fast inured to duty's call. Schoolboys enamoured of despotic ambition, herding of traitors into railway cars. Berlin's old glamorous erotic perdition, murderous raids on the city's gay bars. Criminal green and Romney brown, scapegoats denoted by David Star Yellow, despicably keen to bring the Reich down, fated, offloaded by chamber or gallows. Rebel pirates, the Edelweiss, the snow white flower, ever defiant, they play the dice, and no one knows the hour. Dance to jazz, twist to swing, for das macht der frei. Romance pizzazz, the resistance thing, live fast and die. Thank you.
Hey Lish, hey Colin, thank you very much for having me on your show, and this is a short piece. It's a drunk tongue twister, so we'll see how we go. The daughter sought the porter for a porter, so the porter brought a porter for the daughter. But the porter that he brought her wasn't porter kind of sorta, no, the rotter sought to water with a water. Well, the daughter sought the sort that sought to water, and said she'd ordered porter, and he ought to be a proper porter, or in court she'd take no quarter, for she was indeed a porter reporter. Well, the porter sought the daughter and besought her, though what he'd brought her wasn't what he ought her. They were somewhat short of porter, but he'd make it up, was sure to. So with a case of port, the rorter bought her. Thank you very much.
Vicious circles turning like 1 foot nailed to the ground. Vicious circles turning round and round and round and round. In the circle can't break out, a vortex pulls me in and down. Like the water in the bathtub, sucks you in and spins you round. Brain is swirling, life is turning, words to save me can't be found. Tension building in my body like a spring too tightly wound. All the words used to accuse me don't explain, they just confound. Deep inside myself is screaming from my mouth, can't hear a sound. Circles turning, vicious circle turns me round. Vicious circle turning spins me round and round and round.
TV, you can go on the blink for all I care. Too vacuous, too voluptuously insane, too vain. In vain, I grab the remote. Buttons don't work. Too much pain. TV, our drug of the nation, once, sadly becoming redundant in this stream-to-any-device age. Poor TV. Please don't mistake me for being too vindictive in regards to your attempt to entertain me. Poor TV. Please don't forsake me in these times when I need you most. TV. Blink at me 3 times to signal that you are alive. TV. I miss static snow in this digital age. TV. We grew up together. Well, almost. And there seemed to be a lot that we could share. Now there's only crap on free-to-air. Oh, TV, toothless vampire, turgid vixen. Oh. Need my fix of televised Valium. Gimme TV.
Well, what a super duper night we've had tonight. I banged my cane at you. Mr. Rowan Edward Lear White and Eddy Burger. That was just so good. 2 feature sets that I shall remember for years to come, and I'm sure the audience will as well. And thank you so much to all of our open section, Matt, Viki, and Rami, Dawood, Yvette Stubbs, Mry Chydiriotis, Sean O'Callaghan, Colin Clark, Tim Train, Gerard Lewis-Fitzgerald, Komninos Zervos, and Annemarie Bowman. You were all super duper fine as well. And thank you to our audience for tuning in yet again for the 64th Poetryspective edition, 13th online. Pretty impressive. Remember to look us up on Facebook and here on YouTube. Of course, you can watch previous episodes, and of course there are feature sets from before we started our online edition that you can catch up on as well. They're pretty nifty. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. If you would like to submit to the next Poetryspective Online, number 65, you can contact myself or Colin Clark. And this is Lish, signing off. Until next time, au revoir.